Foreclosures. Foreclosures are not a good thing.
No, not especially when you're on the receiving end.
Oh my
You're the one
god.
foreclosing.
Yes, and home foreclosures are at their highest level since the start of the pandemic as financial aftermath takes
Huh.
a toll on buyers.
That's interesting because you would think it's the opposite from what I think.
So there's actually I think I know why you might be thinking
Oh,
that,
okay.
but I'll
Yeah.
walk you through this because it
Okay.
is interesting what exactly is happening right now. So foreclosure filings jumped 34% over the past year to the
Okay.
highest level since the pandemic.
Okay.
So the thing is that foreclosure filings, including default notices, scheduled auctions, and bank repossessions, jumped 28% just in the third quarter.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot that's happening right now
Yeah.
in the market. And this is kind of crazy just to even think about. But you'll know in a minute on why this is happening too.
Okay.
So just continuing on here, that September alone saw an 11% jump in foreclosure filings, which was about 37,000 filings.
Okay.
That was up 18% from the month prior. So it's kind of crazy to even think
Yeah.
about this, but these numbers are relatively high, in
Yeah.
the thousands that's happening.
So this is surprising to me because the interest rates at the time during the pandemic were at such an insane low number that people have pretty good rates. So in terms of the monthly cost to pay down their house, it's not as crazy it is right now to get a house. So I'm it either they're potentially going through a really rough time, or they got into a house that they can't afford even at the low interest rate.
I think it might be the latter, by the way,
Oh,
because
really?
you know why? The rise is partly attributed to the end of the mortgage forbearance and moratorium. So it's partly attributed to that.
Interesting.
And it's also partly attributed to consumers having to return to repaying their student debt.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so there's a bless you. There is a lot that's happening, and a lot more debts that are coming due to these individuals, which I could see that them having their expenses coming back up
Yeah.
could put them in forbearance. And
Yeah, and financial trouble. Yeah.
yeah, and the thing is, it's not very uncommon because we've also seen news cycles saying that credit cards are at their all-time highest. Even if they bought these interest rates, the inflation and cost of things going up have not kept up with wages.
Yeah.
So they could potentially still be underwater, not by their house, but everything around them, everything that
Oh, everything's
everything
just more expensive.
yeah, everything being more expensive, which is just a wild thing to even think about. That it's your surroundings that are too expensive at this point.
I could see that because even gas has gone, or gasoline has gotten insane, especially in California where it's sometimes $7 a gallon, which is absurd.
Yeah, it's everything's just in general getting too expensive, and the thing is it's kind of crazy just to even think about. But I will say this very last thing, and if you stayed this long, make sure, if you liked our content, make sure to like and subscribe. We put out videos daily. We
Yep.
have a library of over 200 videos.
Yeah, and we'd appreciate you joining us on this journey.
Yes. The last thing I did want to say, which is this was really wild. Mortgage lenders, meanwhile, began the foreclosure process on 68,000 properties in the U.S. over the past quarter.
Oh,
Not
and that's all
that's
because of that mortgage forbearance.
yeah, which that recently ended, by the way.
I
And
mean, like they're
in
like, okay, and your house is our house now.
yeah, so
Sorry.
it's partly attributed to that. It's partly attributed to the upcoming student loans because people are getting like they're getting unknown. Like it started back in I think in October where
Uh-huh.
they're having an extra expense. They were
Yep.
already underwater. They're underwater now. So it's kind of crazy just to even think about all of these things. But yes,
So it's all adding together, really.
yeah, it's honestly it's high credit card usage. It's more expenses, and it is all attributed to also like higher interest rates, higher inflation, and in the foreseeable future, I don't think inflation is going to be coming down. So this could potentially be in the long run. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's hard to think about, but home foreclosures might spike up again because they have been spiking up recently, but we'll have to wait and see. But let us know in the comments down below your guys' thoughts on this or anything else.
Yeah, because I think that we probably won't even see a reduction in home values
Hmm.
because the home values are still through the roof, and through multiple effects, it's a crazy time where there's still a lot of people wanting to buy a house, even though the rates are super high.
Hmm.
They'd still want to buy something. So even if there is like a slight discount, they might just go ahead and buy it because like there are a lot of qualified buyers out there that are looking to buy a house, even if it's like in the not so great like circumstance. Obviously, like you'd rather just have the person you're buying it from like willfully selling their house,
Yeah.
not being like a bank selling someone else's like potential house.
Yeah, but I think it's hard, and we'll have to. I think we'll have to wait and see on what happens. But yeah, I don't think. I think yeah, you would
Yeah.
want to see someone else selling their house instead of the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally.
Yeah. So let us know down below whether you think this is the like prelude to a housing crash, because this
Hmm.
could be like a lot of analysts were saying like where is the housing crash, and it seems like there's a lot of things that are still propping up the housing market and keeping it afloat versus what a lot of people predicted to happen, where like, oh, there's going to be a crash, and it's only a matter of time because like they can't afford it, yada yada yada. But I mean, obviously so far like houses have only gone up. So
Yeah, yeah. Let us know in the comments down below.